Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Camp W. In the last episode, we met some more of the campers staying with us here, and we also had the chance to experience our very first camp activity. We chose to do some archery with a Wilfred, which was quite interesting and very, very revealing of his character. I mean, he seems like an interesting kid in general. He's very, very devious, and he's cooking up some strange schemes on his own, so I can't wait to learn a little bit more about him too. But now we're deep in the woods, and it looks as if we've just made it out to a little campfire. The group finally arrives at a campsite just out into the woods where the light of the main campus has faded into the distance. Todd sparks some flint into the fire pit, and it lights up instantly. It's good to set your sights on the BCB, but let's not forget about all of the other badges up for grabs at Camp W. The BCB, that was the Bear Claw badge. We learned about this, or the Bear Claw bracelet rather, not badge. We learned about this in the last episode. Some kid named Edward was the only one who ever had one, so it's very much sought after at Camp W. In fact, now is the perfect time to earn one. Everyone takes their seat in a circle around the flames. Who would like to unspool an epic yarn and earn themselves a campfire storyteller badge? Ooh, I wonder if Lil's going to do it? Todd places his flashlight just below his chin, casting a terrifying shadow over his face. Bonus points for scary stories, but not too scary. Cleaning all of your sheets every single morning is seriously bad for the environment. Oh, I could tell the story of the Lakeside Institute for the Criminally Deviant, the abandoned insane asylum across the lake from camp. I know the story of the Shadow Man. He's a cursed old warlock who wanders the woodchip path across camp every night during the witching hour. Or have you heard the one about the, well, they call her the bride, but the thing is, she never actually made it to her wedding before disappearing into the forest. Ooh, Sophie would tell a story? So I guess they should really call her the fiancé. The campers sit in silence, scared to speak up as if they may invoke not only a story, but a ghost itself. Alright, so either Sid's story about the Lakeside Institute, the fiancé from Sophie, or the Shadow Man. I mean, I kind of want to hear what Sophie's story is going to be like. She is very, very shy, so it would be fun to kind of see her break loose a little bit and tell a ghost story of her own. Seeing how we're already sitting in a forest, I think the story of the bride, or the fiancé, is perfect. Sophie stands in front of the fire, the glow of the flames flickering around her. One winter, a young couple from town not far from Camp W decided that the next spring they would be married. The two were madly in love and could not wait for the snow to melt, so they could join in matrimony and unite their souls for eternity. Per the latest bridal trends, they decide to have their wedding ceremony at the edge of the woods by a beautiful, shabby chic farmhouse. Together, they spent months planning the details of the wedding. The two created invitations, figured out seating arrangements, and tasted 100 cakes before settling on the perfect one. Sounds like a pretty good time. They chose Lili Koi, by the way, so exotic. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, I'm not really sure what that is. When it came time to figure out the decorations, however, the bride, or the fiancé I guess, since she wasn't actually married yet, wanted to take the lead and set the style. After all, her boyfriend had been wearing cargo shorts and open-toe sandals for pretty much their entire relationship, so he was definitely not to be trusted. Having decided on such a lovely, natural setting for the ceremony, the fiancé decided that she would create unique floral arrangements from the local wildflowers that surrounded the farmhouse. As soon as the sun rose on the first day of spring, she set off into the woods. Each day, she spent hours mapping out where the best blooms could be found, and prepared to pick them herself the morning of the wedding, so that they'd be at the height of their freshness and beauty. And enamored with the incredible variety of flowers in the forest she surveyed, the bride, or the fiancé, became obsessed with knowing just how many there were, so that she could choose the absolute best. When the fateful morning of her big day finally came, the fiancé told her husband-to-be that she had one final errand before the wedding. Excited for the ceremony to come, she dressed in her beautiful white gown and set off into the woods to gather flowers. Treading carefully, she followed her route, selecting only the best stems and collecting them in a basket. However, when she came upon a once familiar clearing, something was not as she expected. Somehow it was more beautiful now than it had ever been before, and just on the edge of her view was a new bush filled with blossoms so vibrant and colorful, she became dizzy just looking at them. But the fiancé ignored her sudden spell and pressed ahead, scooping up flower after flower. And every time she did, she noticed just further ahead, and possibly even more beautiful blossoms. They're leading her out into the forest, deeper and deeper, carried by the sweet fragrance of the spring air. The bride, or the fiancé, crept farther and farther into the woods, until she turned a corner, stepped over a mossy fallen tree trunk, and realized she had been here before. But this wasn't the clearing she remembered, or at least not how she remembered it. The flowers were suddenly overripe, decaying, falling from their stems into festering moldy piles on the floor. Where bees had been, now only flies buzzed. Where the scene of flowers had once intoxicated her, the odor of mildew now made her sick. She turned and looked back, but the path was dark. Into a shadowy glen she walked and walked and walked. That day, as guests gathered at the farmhouse, the fiancé was nowhere to be seen. Her friends, family, and love began to look for her, but to no avail. They searched the pasture, the tree line, and into the forest, but there were no beautiful wildflowers or young lovers to be seen. Just old dead trees, trampled vines, and moss-covered rocks. The fiancé stayed a fiancé for eternity, always wandering, looking for fresher blooms to clip, but never finding them. Kind of interesting how we found that flower on the altar in the woods. I wonder if there's a little bit of truth to that after all. Don't let the bride find you, or she'll bring you flowers? I don't get it. Everything about girls confuses you, Miller. That wasn't quite what I expected was going to happen, but I really liked it. Distracted by a never-ending search for perfection, unable to see that you are loved for who you are. Out there, all alone. I thought it was beautiful and sad. I'm glad you liked it. You pull it together long enough to sketch a quick picture of the bride, of the fiancé, into your grimoire. Yeah, that was a pretty good story. Sophie did a very, very good job telling it. Oh, and the fiancé looks so spooky here. Yeah, it does make me wonder, since it is a story about the forest and the flowers, if maybe there's just some truth to it, something that was maybe pulled over from the witching realm. With the story complete, and total darkness hovering all around them, the campers sit in stunned silence. Everybody, every single person, is too scared to talk. And you can't blame them, there are eyes watching us from the trees. So, before Todd can revive their spirits, a loud crack pops in the distance and echoes all around. The campers snap to their feet. Graham crackers scatter on the ground, marshmallows are flung into the air. It's an actual get it together, Wilfred. It's not a ghost. At least it's highly unlikely that it is. Paranormal activities are notoriously hard to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. However, Essie and I have been working on some new high-tech gear that aims to finally solve that puzzle. Everyone reacts to the potential visitation in their own way, scattering in different directions. Before you're left behind, you need to choose where you'll go. The truth is out there, I'm out of here, or I ain't afraid of no ghost. Alright, so it sounds like this would bring us with the twins. This, of course, would bring us with poor little Wilfred. And Ruby is not afraid one bit. Well, let's go with the twins. I'm quite curious to see what they're cooking up with their strange inventions. Before you can make heads or tails of this ghost encounter, other campers around you jump into action. Your eye catches a green glow being cast behind you. When you turn, you see the twins, Ella and Essie, bathed in a neon light. Electromagnetic field meter? Online. Wide-angle infrared night vision camera? Rolling. Machine that doesn't do anything but looks really cool? Essie tosses you some sort of really cool-looking piece of technology. You have no idea what it does. Does that matter? Looking cool. The two of them have somehow already assembled a mobile command unit with electronic tools, sensors, and LED monitors. I swear, this equipment wasn't here a second ago. You know, they're stashing them away in secret places like under our bunks. You'll get used to it. In the past 100 years, dozens of huge cash prizes have been offered for proof of the paranormal. Millions of dollars up for grabs. And yet, no one has come forward with concrete evidence and claimed any of these prizes. If ghosts do exist, we aim to find out and collect the cash to fund new research. Ella waves some sort of metallic wand about, a pulsing light blinking at the very end of it. I'm getting a lot of activity in the northwest sector. We definitely haven't encountered anything like this before. As she follows her signal, she begins to walk in your direction. These readings, they're off the charts. Oh, is it actually picking up Lil? A seemingly endless sheet of paper rolls out of a nearby machine, covered in scratchy graphs etched out by a rapidly swinging arm. This thing better not be able to tell if a person is lying. I need you all to believe me when I say that each and every one of you is my favorite camper. Honest. Ella continues to wave her device around. It makes a loud beeping sound every time it swings past you. Each time you feel less and less comfortable with this little experiment. What could they be finding out? I think this thing is busted. Unless its main purpose is to measure s'mores breath. I maybe went a little too overboard on the marshmallows and chocolate, sure, but we don't need to make a show of it. There's nothing to be afraid of. Since we upgraded this unit, the threat of radiation poisoning is incredibly low. Okay, I'm feeling safer already. Ella is practically jabbing you in the ribs with her device. It's humming at a constant pace, and she is giving you a very strange once-over, studying you as you stand there frozen. This chart can't be right. Lil, have you been involved in a paranormal experience? Who, me? What? Why, I never. I'm no ghost, I'm just a kid who loves melting chocolate onto other foods. The device is out of control. Paper is spitting out of it at an alarming pace, and the end of the paper is shoved over the edge of the fire pit, catching on fire. As he turns to face the blaze, and the light at the end of her wand beeps so fast that it actually bursts. The reams upon reams of chart and graphs are now completely engulfed in flame. Well, I guess that's one way to get rid of the evidence. My precious data. I think we've scienced enough for one night. Shut it down. Resigned to living in a world with far too many unsolved mysteries, Ezzy sighs defeatedly and presses a big red button. Fire-extinguishing foam floods out from one side of his command center, drenching the fire and putting it out completely. Ella picks up a yard of wet paper and wipes the foam away, eyeballing the results. Heat. It was measuring heat. I think some settings got altered in transit and it was accidentally set to recognize simple temperature, nothing more. Yes, that must be what happened. That's why it beeped when I approached you. I think that makes you the exact opposite of a ghost, hot-blooded and full of life. You can't help but wonder, was the experiment really a failure? Or did the twins' device actually recognize that you aren't a normal human? Maybe it sensed traces of the portal in your clothes? Or a certain talking squirrel who's been rubbing all over the inside of your bag? Oh my gosh, where is Nugget? We haven't heard from Nugget in so long. I mean, I guess that's a good thing because he probably would have given himself away. We've been around so many humans lately. Thanks for helping keep us all safe in the dark. This is for you. You've earned it. Ooh, is this our very first badge? Todd reaches out to you with an open hand. There's something in his palm. It's a merit badge, a special reward for spirit busting. Your first ever. Yes! Oh my gosh, that is, well, kinda cute. Now our little Lil is officially a Ghostbuster. Excellent. Now you might all be wondering, Todd, wasn't it established last summer that telling scary stories late into the night is actually extremely problematic behavior that can lead to reoccurring nightmares and long-term psychic trauma? To which I say, yes. Yes, it was, conclusively. So that's going to be the end of tonight's spooky stories. But don't worry, the summer is just getting started. Todd begins to whistle a cute little ditty as he marches around the fire, ignoring the huddle of paranoid children that he filled full of sweets and then scared half to death. A+, Todd. Excellent camp counselor behavior. Back to the bunks. Chocolate smeared, sugar dusted, and some still shaking, the campers make quick time back to their cabins, donning pajamas with a record-breaking speed. You, however, have other things in your mind. You make like you're heading in, but let the door of the bunk close without letting you in it. Hey, Nugget, can you believe this place? Yeah, let's see if Nugget is still in our bag. Oh, there he is. Oh, was he scared from the story? Right? This place is creepy. It reminds me of one of those fairy tales about nice young witches encountering scary humans in the forest. I like it. There's so much adventure and so little learning. I think this place is pretty fun. Easy for you to say. You're not the one locked up all day in a smelly gym bag. Now that we've made your mother wait all day, what say we put a little distance between us and this bunk and phone home? You find a quiet spot just beyond the tree line, out of hearing distance from the bunks. Oh good, so she actually has a phone? But do you really think it's going to reach the witching realm here? It has been hours since you wandered off, and you figure that your mom and Gadji must be worried sick about you. Basically, everything has gone according to plan. Mila is gonna be pretty heated when you walk in so late. I've always been proud of my own ability to push her buttons, but you're a button pusher extraordinaire. Oh, to be young again. She'll be fine. Let's give her a ring and tell her we're coming home. Nugget takes a deep breath and prepares for an arcane ritual. It's time to initiate the Nuggetphone. Oh, okay. So she doesn't actually have a phone, but Nugget is going to act as some sort of phoning device. Though far away my feet may roam, I'm never truly far from home. For with me always is a gate through which I may communicate. I call upon you, Nuggetphone, connect me through this spectral zone. As you recite the words, Nugget's eyes close and a strange glow swirls around him. Transmit my message loud and clear, so those who love me most may hear. Oh my goodness, Nugget. Are you okay, buddy? Nugget becomes still like a statue. He opens his mouth, and out comes, well, like some kind of interdimensional walkie-talkie. Nugget has become a portal into himself, transmitting your mom and Gadji's voices across space and time to you. Oh my goodness. Lil, where have you been? I've been worried sick about you. It's been hours. You completely missed dinner. I thought you got carried off by a kobold. You really should have called home earlier. I know you can handle yourself, but that's no excuse not to check in with your poor old Gadji from time to time. I still saved you a slice of pie, though. Well, thank you very much, Gadji. I know, I'm sorry. I guess I got a little carried away and forgot. I'll be home soon, though. What kind of pie? Let's can the pie talk for a second. Where have you been? Oh, you know, I was walking around with Nugget and we found some old stuff and got to looking around and trying out spells. Since you want me to stay on top of my studies and all. And, I just lost track of time, I guess? If there's anything you want to tell us, now is the chance. You know Nugget is terrible at keeping secrets. Geez, there's no terrible secret, Mom. We're just out messing around. No dark magic or anything to be worried about. I'll head right home. I feel 100% confident you are hiding something. Yeah, sounds like Lil is not the best at lying either, especially to her mother. But I mean, she seems like she could see through any tricks. It's pretty much a sure thing at this point. But we still love you. Oh, Gadji is so sweet. Be safe, but make it snappy. As the connection cuts out, Nugget comes back to life, the strange aura from before fading. So what lame excuse did you feed them? I basically just mumbled until they gave up. When in doubt... Yeah, Nugget, when in doubt, just mumble. So I guess he doesn't know what's actually going on when he's in that sort of trance? Very, very interesting. Precisely. I guess it's time to head back home. I thought you might be a little more broken up about leaving this human kids camp after such an intense, you'd say fun first day. Well, just between you and me, I plan on sneaking back in. Don't worry, I won't drag you along with me next time. Don't tell me this stuff. I need plausible deniability. Relax, now let's go hit up that portal back home. It's not that easy in the dark, but you find your way back to the site of the portal. Sure enough, there's your emergency whistle dangling from a tree branch, swaying ever so slightly in the breeze. So is this portal supposed to open itself, or is that your job? I said we'd figure out how to open it, and here we are. So hold your horses, alright? Maybe it needs some kind of spell. Yeah, in general, magic portals need some kind of magic spell. You dig around in your bag for any kind of ingredient that might help you out. I could probably use the things I found back in the witching realm. They were there when we opened it the first time. In your hand you hold the locket and small purple flower. Nobody ever taught you an incantation for this type of thing, so you roll with it. But there was another thing, right? That mustache that we didn't take. I mean, granted, we do have a fake mustache from Wilfred and his plan back at the archery range, but something tells me it's not going to work exactly the same. You thrust your fist out in front of you, close your eyes, and think portal opening thoughts. But nothing happens. If I recall correctly, there was an altar as well. I'm not sure those totems will have much effect on their own. It's weird. I don't really remember the moment that the portal itself opened. We were standing in the woods and everything was calm, and then there was a hole in the world, and a moment later we were on the other side. Oh, I remember. You got all ragey, did a bit of shouting at anyone who would listen, which was just me at the time, but I rolled with it. And then you slammed your fist down. And then a portal opened? I've seen some things in my time, but it wasn't exactly a normal afternoon. Maybe you just need to harness a little of that energy you had. If I recall correctly, you were pretty peeved and shouting about witchmess. Try that. I would, but I just don't feel like it. Missing out on witch camp all these years, I've always felt a distance between me and the other kids at my school. But here, after just one day with these human kids, I feel no distance at all. It's like, obviously there's more to life than getting perfect grades and being a famous witch. Those kids don't even know who my mom is, and they never will. It's just so wonderfully freeing. Yeah, she's not gonna leave. There's no way. Am I making sense? It's called perspective, kid. You've seen the world from 2 dimensions. You're beginning to understand what depth is, seeing things from outside your regular point of view. There's no going back now. Figuratively, that is. Literally, we have to go back, or your mom will come for us somehow, and it will not be pretty. But before I was so angry. I'm still not happy about the way she treats me, but I just don't have the energy for it anymore. I'm not sure I can do this. So what, we live here in the human realm now? I mean, why not? Well, for one, none of the squirrels here get any of my jokes. Not for the rest of our lives, but just this summer. And maybe next summer. I mean, there's food, shelters, semi-adult supervision, and we're not even that far from home, technically. Mom wants me to study my magic. Okay, sure. I already cast 1 new spell today, and you have to admit it was effective. You talking about the bird spell? Isn't that what she really wants? You are threading a fairy's needle with that logical leap. Your spell got a little girl pooped on. Yep, the height of witch magic. Your entire argument borders on nonsense. No way she buys it. Bet me. Oh my, now you're speaking my language. What's on the table? Labor. Mom calls us home. I become your summer servant. You spend the whole summer sitting on your fluffy orange butt, sipping iced tea while I wait on you hand and foot. And if she has gone completely insane and tells you that you can stay, what's in it for you? I need a sidekick. If I find myself in any tight spots with these humans, you help, no questions asked. Woof. That sounds like a pretty open-ended request. Usually I wouldn't commit to something that broad, but you have 0 chance anyhow. And why should I believe you when you tell me what happens on this call? You know I can't hear you when I go hollow. If I lie, when I do get caught, it's 5 summers of servitude. You're lucky that I love to gamble. Let's do this. Alright, looks like we're calling up Mom again. Though far away my feet may roam, I'm never truly far from home. For with me always is a gate through which I may communicate. I call upon you, Nuggetphone, connect me through this spectral zone. Nugget once again strikes his interdimensional calling pose. As you recite the words, Nugget's eyes close, and a strange glow once again swirls around him. Transmit my message loud and clear, so those who love me most may hear. Nugget's eyes close, but his mouth is open. You know your plan is terrible, so you just launch into it as fast as possible, hoping to brute force your way through. You want me to study magic all summer? It's a deal. I've decided to take your wishes seriously and focus on improving my witching abilities. By the end of the summer, I will have advanced at full grade through independent studies. For the sake of practice and my own sanity, I've signed up for a summer camp. Before you can say anything, Nugget has agreed to be my personal chaperone. I'll check in every day and... I knew you weren't telling me everything. You just went and signed up for a summer camp all by yourself? I never so much as got a brochure. Where is this camp and what kind of courses do they teach there? Do they know who I am? So much for fast talking. It's actually very close to home. You could say it's right on top of home, in fact. It's in the human realm? The human realm? Even as a hologram, you can feel the exasperation wafting off of Mila. Lil, slow down. A young witch doesn't just hop over to the human realm and have tea. What happened? Okay, I'll tell you. But you have to promise not to get mad and take me seriously or I'll hang up. You know you can trust me, and you know I trust you too. So I was on my walk when I came across this old altar with offerings on it. There was a flower, a locket, and a lock of hair. Gadji is trying to keep Mila out of the conversation, but there's no stopping her input. I'm really curious to see what Gadji's going to think. I mean, the locket was hers, or at least it had her picture in it, so you know there's some connection to Gadji and the altar. Oh, well, doesn't that sound familiar? A window, Mother? You left a window open to the other side where anyone can come across it? Shh. Sorry, honey, you were saying? Yup. Looks like we were right. So I was looking at the altar when, well, a portal opened and I kind of fell through it. A nugget followed to pull me back out, but it closed and now I'm at Camp W and everyone thinks I go here now. Camp W? That old? I've already made so many new friends. This kid, Sid, challenged me to catch a tater tot from across the room. Except it kind of hit me in the face, but I still showed him that I'm not afraid of anything. And then I helped this kid, Wilfred, pick out a new mustache. That probably sounds pretty weird, and it was, but it was also a lot of fun. Then we sat around a campfire, and I learned the story of the bride, the fiancé. It was just like you say, hiring a professional party planner is always worth the price. Oh, and I even earned a merit badge. I got the Ghostbuster badge on account of how I helped these really smart sciencey type kids monitor the camp for evil spirits. Oh, and I learned the story of Edward McGrubbinkin, the most famous camper in the history of Camp W. Maybe of any camp. Humans are weird, but I like them. Can't I just stay? You know, this is a very big deal, Lil. You couldn't have expected us to just let you stay in the human realm or anywhere unsupervised for an entire summer. Expect no, but hope? Hope beyond all hope? Hope like it's on sale and it's going out of style? I told you Nugget is here. I'm technically not far, and I promise to work harder on developing my skills as a witch than I've ever done. I'm making friends. Real friends, and it's so much fun. Also, and this is a big one, the portal sorta closed behind me, so I can't get back anyway. So please... Fine. Oh, Gadji! Gadji gave in! Here are the conditions. No magic around humans. No one can know you are a witch. Staying safe is more important than practicing your abilities. You have to check in with us once a week. Once a week? Mom, have you lost it? We left a Lil alone for one afternoon and they end up in the human realm. There's no telling where they could wind up in a whole week. I want daily check-ins at least, preferably twice a day. Fine. 2. At least daily check-ins. I want to hear from you every day, rain or shine. 3. We deserve the right to yank you back into the witching realm whenever we see fit. You can do that? You bet your tush I can, and I will if you give me good reason. 4. Have fun. When you get back home, we can and will push you through your studies harder than you've ever been pushed before. This is the price. These terms are non-negotiable. Mila is raving at her mother, but her rapid pacing back and forth across the room means you can't hear what she says. It's safe to assume that she isn't entirely on board with this plan. Agreed. Okay, love you both. Mwah, 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 bye. You boop Nugget on his little frozen squirrel nose, hanging up the call before Mila can change the terms. Nugget comes to and immediately starts in on you. So, how are we getting back across? We're staying. Oh, he's never gonna believe it. I don't believe it. You're just going to defy your mother's wishes? Gadji said I could stay. She laid out some ground rules, but I can stay. There has to be more to it than this. I have to check in with them every day, so I guess we'll find out. So you get to spend your summer at camp, and I get to spend mine in a purse filled with empty gum wrappers? Great. You are absolutely beaming as you skip back through the campgrounds toward your bunk. An entire summer to do your own thing? in another dimension? There has definitely got to be more to it than this. Alright, so it looks like we're staying in summer camp after all? Well, I'm happy that things worked out for Lil in the end. Sounds like she still has a lot waiting for her when she gets back to the witching realm, but at least she can make this summer the best she's ever had. So I think that's where we'll wrap it up for this episode. Now that we've earned our very first merit badge, I'm sure there will be plenty more opportunities for more in the morning. So for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!